I remember the exact moment my life split into two. Not the day we got married. Not the day we met. Not even the day we had our first big fight. It was a Tuesday, a completely ordinary, boring, predictable Tuesday. And it became the day my wife told me she was leaving. My name is Daniel. I've always thought of myself as a good guy. Not perfect. Just decent. The kind of man who goes to work, pays the bills, doesn't cheat, doesn't drink too much, doesn't gamble, doesn't hit, doesn't walk out. I thought being not bad meant I was being good enough. It took losing her to realize those two things are not the same. That morning started like most days, alarm at 6:30. I hit snooze twice, then rolled onto my side expecting to see her there. Hair messy, half covered in blankets, phone on her face, breathing softly. But the bed was empty. I heard the kettle in the kitchen. She was already up. That wasn't unusual, she liked quiet mornings. I told myself that as I dragged myself out of bed and headed for the shower. In the mirror, I looked tired. The kind of tired that doesn't go away with sleep. The kind that sits behind your eyes when you've been living on autopilot for too long. I brushed my teeth, shaved, got dressed for work in the same routine pattern. White shirt, black pants. Same watch, same shoes. Sometimes I wondered when I became this predictable. When my life stopped feeling like something I was living and started feeling like something I was just maintaining. But that morning, I didn't think too hard about it. I just went to the kitchen. She was sitting at the table, staring into her coffee, both hands wrapped around the mug like she was trying to keep herself from falling apart. Her name is Emma. We'd been married for 10 years. I knew every crease of her smile. I knew how she laughed with her whole body when something was really funny. I knew which songs made her cry. I knew that she hated olives and that she always left one bite on her plate because she never liked to finish anything completely. Or at least, I thought I knew her. "Morning," I said, grabbing a mug and pouring myself coffee. She didn't answer. That should have been the first sign. Instead, I chalked it up to "she's tired," and sat down across from her. Her hair was tied back in a loose ponytail. She was still wearing the oversized shirt she slept in. Her eyes looked empty. "You okay?" I asked, sipping my coffee, glancing at my phone. She looked up then. And there was something in her eyes. A quiet, heavy decision. "Dan," she said softly. My head snapped up. She only called me Dan like that when something was wrong. "We need to talk." Every married person I know says that's the sentence that ruins them. We need to talk, but I was stupid. I just forced a little smile and said, "Sounds serious." "It is," she replied. And as soon as she said that, I felt it, that sinking feeling. Like a tiny hand inside my chest suddenly squeezed my heart, just enough to make breathing harder. I put my phone down. "Okay, talk." She didn't speak right away. She looked at the table, tracing the rim of her mug with her finger like she was searching for the right words. When she finally looked up, her eyes were already glossy. "I'm leaving," she said. At first, I thought she meant for work, or for a trip, or to visit her sister. So I asked the dumbest possible thing. "Leaving where?" Her lip trembled. "Leaving you." The air left my lungs. It was like being punched without seeing it coming. Everything in the room stayed exactly the same. The fridge humming, the clock ticking, the sun creeping through the blinds. But my world tilted. I laughed. I actually laughed. It wasn't because it was funny. It was because I didn't know what else to do. "Come on," I said, "that's not funny." Her eyes hardened. "I'm not joking." I searched her face for some sign that this was a bad prank, a test, a moment I could fix with a hug and a sorry. But her face didn't have that softness. It had something else, resignation. "How long have you been thinking this?" I asked slowly. She swallowed. "Years." I felt my stomach drop. "Years," I repeated, like the word itself couldn't be real. She nodded. "But you never said anything," I protested. "I did," she said quietly. "You just weren't listening." My mouth opened, to argue, to defend, to list all the reasons I wasn't a bad husband. But nothing came out. I thought about all the times she had said, "I'm tired, I feel alone, we don't talk anymore, I miss us." I thought they were moods. I thought they were just phrases people in long-term relationships said sometimes. I thought she would always stay. "You're serious?" I whispered. "Yes," she replied. The kettle clicked off behind us. A car drove past outside. The world went on, mine didn't. "Why?" I managed. What did I do?" She closed her eyes, inhaled shakily, then opened them again. "It's not one thing, Dan," she said. "It's 1,000 small things over years that built up into something I can't carry anymore." "I don't understand," I muttered. She nodded sadly. "I know." Silence hung between us, thick and heavy. Finally she said, "I don't want to leave like this. I don't want to just pack a bag and disappear." "Then don't," I said quickly, desperate. "Don't leave. We can fix this. We can—" She cut me off with a look. "Listen to me," she said gently. "I'm not here to fight. I'm here to say goodbye properly." The word goodbye felt like a knife. "No," I said, shaking my head. "We're not saying goodbye. Married people don't just wake up and leave." "They don't wake up and leave," she agreed. "They leave slowly inside, long before their body walks out of the door." I stared at her. She continued, voice trembling. "I've been leaving, Dan, little by little. Every time I felt alone next to you. Every time I cried in the bathroom so you wouldn't hear. Every time I tried to talk and you were too tired, or too busy, or not in the mood for drama. Every time I needed you to see me and you chose not to." My throat tightened. "I was here," I argued weakly. "I never cheated. I came home every night. I know," she said, cutting in softly. "You never cheated. You always paid the bills. You fixed things when they broke. On paper, you were a good husband. And why isn't that enough?" I snapped, louder than I meant to. Her eyes flashed with hurt. "That's exactly the point, Dan. You think not doing the worst things means you're doing your best." She looked away for a moment, then back at me. "You didn't break us by doing something terrible. You broke us by doing nothing, for too long." Her words stung, not because they were cruel, but because they were too honest. I wanted to scream that she was overreacting, that every couple goes through rough patches, that we were just stressed, busy, tired. She seemed to read my mind. "I know you'll tell yourself this is sudden," she said, "that you didn't see it coming. And that's the saddest part, Dan. It wasn't sudden for me. It was slow. It was me waiting for you to notice I was drowning, while you were busy trying not to rock the boat." Tears finally spilled onto her cheeks. "I don't hate you," she whispered. "I'm not leaving because I stopped loving you. I'm leaving because I stopped recognizing myself." I felt something crack inside me. Can we talk about this tonight?" I asked desperately. "I have work and—" She laughed. "It wasn't amused. That's exactly it," she said. "There's always something else that comes first." She looked at the clock. "I asked you not to go to that extra shift on our anniversary. You went anyway. That was one time. It wasn't just one time," she said. "It was birthdays, dinners, weekends, moments I asked you to keep sacred, that you treated like they were optional." "I was doing it for us," I protested. "For our future." "We never got to our future," she replied. "We got stuck in your later." Her voice broke again. "I kept thinking it's just a season, that eventually you'd slow down and we'd get our life back. But we never did, Dan. You never came back to us. You were there, but you weren't really with me." I swallowed hard. "So that's it?" I whispered. "You're leaving because I worked too much?" She shook her head. "I'm leaving because I begged you to see me." She looked straight into my eyes. "And you didn't." The room blurred for a moment. I realized my hands were shaking. "How long have you felt this way?" I asked. She took a deep breath. "Do you remember the night my father died?" she asked. I flinched. I remembered. "You were on a business trip," she continued. "I called you sobbing, and you said you couldn't talk long because you were in the middle of something important." "I told you I'd call back," I argued. "You didn't," she replied, my mouth opened, then closed. "I sat on the bathroom floor that night," she said, "with my back against the tub, holding my phone, waiting for it to ring. It never did. I remembered the trip, I remembered the presentation. I remembered thinking, I'll call her after this. She'll be fine. She wasn't. That night, she said softly, something in me let go. She wiped her face. I didn't leave immediately. I stayed. I tried. I told myself you didn't mean it, that you were just stressed, that it would get better. She looked down at her hands. But it never did. We sat in silence. Just two people and a decade between them. Is there someone else? I asked suddenly. She looked up, shocked. No, she said firmly. There's no one else. Are you sure? I pressed, desperately searching for some clean explanation that wasn't just me. Her eyes softened. There doesn't have to be someone else, she said, to explain why it hurts that you weren't enough. Her words landed like a slow, heavy stone. Then why now? I whispered. Why today? Why this Tuesday? She looked pained. Because I woke up this morning, she said, and realized that I was more afraid of staying than I was of leaving. I felt like I'd been stripped bare, every defense ripped away. Can we go somewhere? I asked quietly. Please, before you go, can we walk, sit somewhere? You said you didn't want to just disappear. Let me at least really listen. Just once. She studied me for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay, she whispered. Let's take a walk. We didn't talk much on the way to the park. It was a small place a few blocks from our apartment. We used to go there when we were newly married. Back when we'd buy cheap coffee and sit on the same worn-out bench, talking about everything and nothing. We ended up on that same bench without even planning to. She sat. I sat beside her. The wind was gentle. Leaves rustled. A child laughed somewhere in the distance. For a while, we said nothing. Then she spoke. Do you remember when we first moved here? She asked. Yeah, I replied. You used to hold my hand everywhere, she said, a small, sad smile on her lips. Even when we crossed empty streets, even in grocery stores, even when we were just sitting at home. I still hold your hand, I said defensively. Not like before, she answered softly. Before, you held it like you were afraid to lose me. Eventually, you held it like it was a habit. And then, you just stopped reaching for it at all. I looked at my hands. She was right. I couldn't remember the last time I had reached for hers without a reason. I know life got busy, she said. I know you had pressure at work. I know you were tired, her voice shook. But so was I, Dan. I was tired, too, of explaining myself, of asking for the bare minimum and being told you're overreacting, of sitting next to you on the couch while you scrolled your phone, feeling like a stranger in my own marriage. I wanted to scream that she was wrong, that she was being dramatic. But the truth was, I knew she wasn't. I thought you'd always be there, I admitted quietly. I thought no matter how much I neglected the little things, you would still be there. Because that's what love is, right? Unconditional. She looked at me. It is, she said. But love is not the same as tolerance. You can love someone deeply and still reach a point where you can't live like that anymore. Her eyes filled again. I kept waiting for you to wake up, she whispered, to look at me and say, I see you. I know I've taken you for granted. I'll do better. She shook her head. You never did. She looked out at the park. Do you know how many nights I lay next to you staring at the ceiling, wondering what I was doing wrong? My chest ached. I thought if I was more patient, more understanding, less emotional, you would meet me halfway. She swallowed. Then I realized, you didn't even know there was a halfway to meet me at. I wanted to reach for her. I wanted to grab her hand and say, I get it now. I'm here, I'm listening. I'm ready. But saying that now felt like waking up right after sleeping through the most important part. Too little, too late. Is there anything I can say, I asked slowly, that could make you reconsider? She was quiet for a long time. Then she nodded. There is something you can say, she replied. Hope surged through me. Tell me, I said quickly. I'll say it, I'll do it, whatever it is. She turned to face me fully. Tell me why it took me saying, I'm leaving for you to finally sit down and listen like this. My mouth went dry. She waited. I had no answer, because in that moment I realized something terrible. I wasn't fighting for us because I'd suddenly seen her pain. I was fighting because I was scared of being alone. She saw the truth on my face. Her shoulders dropped. "That's what I thought," she whispered. She stood up. "I don't want a version of you that only shows up when I'm walking away," she said. "I wanted you years ago, when I was still hopeful, when I was still trying, when I still believed we could fix it." Her voice was soft, but every word landed like a blow. "I know you might change after this," she continued. "I know one day you'll listen more, you'll pay attention. You'll hold someone's hand like you never want to lose them again." She smiled sadly. "I just wish I could have been the person you became that man for." She took a deep breath. "I'm not asking you to understand me," she said. "I'm asking you to accept my choice." My hands were clenched, my eyes burned. "This is wrong," I croaked. "Marriages aren't supposed to end like this. Over feelings," she flinched. "This isn't about feelings," she replied. "This is about years of being unseen. This is about me looking at my life and thinking, if I stay, I'll disappear." She looked at me one last time. "I deserve to be in a love that doesn't require me to go numb," she said quietly. "And you deserve a chance to learn what love actually looks like, if you choose to." We stood there, staring at each other in the middle of that park, the place where we once dreamed of forever. Now the place where we were letting it go. "Goodbye, Dan," she whispered. "Emma, please." "I will always be grateful for the parts of us that were beautiful," she said. "But I refuse to keep holding on to something that hurts more than it heals." She turned and walked away. I didn't chase her. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But I knew, deep down, that if I begged her to stay now, it wouldn't come from a place of changed heart. It would come from fear. So I watched her leave. The day my wife said she was leaving was the day I finally realized how long I'd been gone. People often ask me if I regret not running after her. I regret a lot of things. I regret every time I dismissed her feelings. Every time I chose my phone over our conversation. Every time I treated her presence like a guarantee instead of a gift. But that day, I don't regret letting her walk away. Because loving someone isn't about clinging to them when they're already broken by your hands. It's about asking yourself, do I love them enough to let them go, if staying means they'll keep losing themselves? It's been years since that Tuesday. I still remember her eyes across that kitchen table. I remember the way her voice shook when she said, "I'm leaving." I remember the bench in the park, the wind, the weight of all the words we never said in time. These days, when people ask me for advice about love, I say this: don't wait for someone to pack a bag to start paying attention. Don't wait for "I'm leaving" to start listening. Don't wait for the day they walk away to realize they've been quietly walking out of your life for years. If you say you love someone, see them, hear them, show up for them, not just when they're slipping away, but every ordinary Tuesday. Because the most heartbreaking thing isn't losing someone who never loved you. It's losing someone who did, because you thought they would stay no matter how little you gave them to hold on to. And if you're listening to this and you recognize yourself in my story, if you see yourself in the version of me who thought not being terrible was enough, I hope you don't wait. I hope you look at the person beside you and realize that they are not a permanent fixture in your life, but a beating heart with a breaking point. Love them. Before "we need to talk" becomes "I'm leaving." Because sometimes, the day they say they're leaving isn't the day you lose them. It's just the day you finally notice they're gone.